Between May 14 and May 17, 2026, one of the most important astrological and geopolitical patterns of the years becomes active. And this is not about an isolated event. This is about very precise sequence where economy, social tension, and transformation of the global information systems begin operating simultaneously. Three different events deeply connected to each other, revealing the same underlying reality, the international system entering in a phase of pressure, acceleration, and reconfiguration. So, if you are new, I invite you all to subscribe and share. And of course, I let you behind in the description box all the information for all of one of you who wants to have your personal reading. And we are going to see to start this video with the weekly information. Then I will be making, of course, the videos of every event, especially the new moon in Tauro that we are going to have on the 17th. Okay, so let's see. Here in the chart, we have the first event. Mercury is showing the Sun in Tauro. Okay, they are in a conjunction right now, and Mercury is leaving Tauro. Okay, then Mercury is going to Gemini and is going to be connecting with Uranus, the first interior planet that is showing Uranus in Gemini in this new time of the world. And then the Sun is showing also in Gemini season. So this is the moment where Uranus in Gemini is getting activated, geopolitically speaking, and also for you in your personal life, astrological speaking. Okay, so let's see. The first movement begins on May 14 with the conjunction between the Sun and Mercury in Tauro. In traditional astrology, this is known as a Cassimi, a moment where Mercury becomes absorbed by the light of the Sun and communications comes out directly without filters or political mediation. Okay, and this happens in Tauro, the sign that is connected with money, resources, land, energy, food, and material stability. But this conjunction also takes place in the 8th house. You can see in the chart the 8th house in mundane astrology, which in geopolitical rules sovereign debt, taxation, international financial agreements, creditors, or movements of capital. So these are going to be the themes for the next days, weeks, months. Okay, the real situation, financial situation of the world and every country, every zone. And I think we are going to see how the stability is getting in a place really hard right now. And I think that instability is going to be the world in this period of time, and until I think the 2030, more specifically. Okay, so this is why this configuration is not simply about local economics. It speaks about messaging crossing borders, the world. Okay, it speaks about presidents, ministers, and financial leaders making statements with global impact. What is said during this week could move markets, alter international negotiations, or generate immediate financial tension. Tauro also activates commodities, energy, precious metals, and strategic resources. Latin America also is going to be in a conflict in every country that are having elections right now, like Colombia and Brazil. So, here is something important. The Cassimi often works as a moment of revelation rather than negotiation. See, information emerges raw, unfiltered, unexpected announcement, improvised statement, or economical decisions capable of triggering rapid action from markets and international actors. So I think we have to be really paying attention in all the statements that the leaders are going to make in this week in terms of financial situation, negotiations, and everything that is related with the energy and instability, I have to say so. Taxes, resources, inflation, everything is now moving and getting really in a rough moment, I think. Okay, so but the real emotional care of this sequence arrives on May 16 with the Toro new moon. Okay, I will share the chart with you. We have here the chart of the Toro new moon that is happening here. We are going to be paying attention also to Chiron showing Mars in Aries, the last minutes of it, okay? Because they are in the last degrees, the critical degrees, the more aggressive also degrees. Chiron is the wound, okay? Provoked by the leaders, because Aries always talks about the leaders of the world, and Mars is the conflict, war, the disturbed moments, and Toro is going to be the next, I think, leading actor in the scene, because Toro will be receiving Chiron and will be receiving Mars really soon, okay? And we are going to see there the Gund that is going to the sign of money, resources, stability, everything that is related with your financial and the financial statement of the world. Okay, so this is really important. In this aspect, we are going to see also Pluto in the second house, who is the house of finances, in Aquarius retrograde, and also we are going to see something about Neptune and Saturn in Aries, that they are in the fourth house, the house that is related with the identity of belonging, the land, the territory, the sense of patriotism. So we are in a big conflict right now in the world, and these themes are, I think, so aggressive, something like that. Okay, so the new moon in Toro, and this new moon does not arrive alone. As I said before, it comes together with an exact conjunction between Mars and Chiron in Aries in the critical degrees. This completely changed everything in the scene. Okay, Taurus speaks about concrete needs, money, salaries, stability, access to resources, food, and housing. And when the new moon activates Tauro, the message is, and I think the people, okay, the masses, are going to be reacting from material level, from what people feel they have, what they lack of, what they perceive as a threat to their security, because security is no longer going to be something real, okay, especially financial security. So I think we are going to be seeing the masses reactions in this period of time. People that are perceiving this wound, okay, this Chironian wound that is taking place, is going to be in Toro really soon, presenting papers and the themes that we are going to talk about in the next years. Okay, like I said, Toro needs Toro speaks about concrete needs of the people: money, salaries, stability, access to resources, food, and housing. So this is primary things. Okay, these are primary things. But Mars conjunction Chiron adds a much deeper layer. Mars represents action, confrontation, and impulse, and Chiron represents wounds, accumulated pain, and historical trauma. When both unite exactly, a collective reaction emerges, charged with emotional intensity, frustration, and tension. protests, mobilizations, and social reactions that are not born only from national economic demands, but from something much deeper. Exhaustion, I think, anger, the feel that entire sectors of society have been carrying pressure for far too long. And while all of this unfolds on the surface, another key factors appears in the chart. Pluto retrograde in Aquarius in the second house. This is also something really hard, okay? Because this speaks about the silence, financial movements, restructuring, economic power, internal revisions, and transformation happening underneath the visible surface. Something is happening and we are not aware, we are not seeing that in the profound way that is really occurring, okay? People react to what they can see, but the deeper origins of the tension might be operating somewhere else entirely. Debt negotiations, banking system, digital economics, hidden capital movements, and structures of power beginning to transform themselves quietly without public announcements. Okay? It's happening behind the back, okay, in the shadow. Okay? So, Pluto retrograde does not always create immediate headlines. It creates subterranean movements that later reshape collective reality. So one day you wake up in the morning and everything is in front of your eyes, like everything changed, and you are like, when this happened? Okay, so something is happening far away from the from what we can see. Okay, and in the middle of all these pressures come the most important event of the week. Mercury entering Gemini in immediate conjunction with Uranus. Let me show you the chart here. Okay, as we can see in the chart, this is happening in the 10th house for mundane astrology. In this geopolitical analysis, the 10th house is related with the leaders, what is happening in the governments, okay, everyone who is taking decisions right now for you, for me, and for the countries and the global conflict. So it's like like earthquake is happening there, okay, and this is in Gemini, the communication, commercial relationships, relationship between countries, neighbor countries, also is related to the routes and transporting issues, matters, specifically aviation with Uranus there. We can expect also big storms, electric storms, and wind storms also, because Gemini is related to all of that. And who is ruling the information? The information, the technology. Who is ruling? They are fighting for that. Okay? So, as I said before, Mercury entering Gemini in immediate conjunction with Uranus. This changes the scale of the entire reading because Uranus has only recently entered in Gemini permanently, and Mercury becomes the first personal planet to activate it. This transforms the event into an opening signal of the completely new cycle, and that is recently the start, because this is going to be affecting us until 2033. Okay, Mercury rules information, media, communication, networks, and the circulation of data. Uranus rules technology, disruption, shocks, innovation, and sudden system changes. When both unite in Gemini, the result is an extreme acceleration of the global information system. Leaks, hacks, intelligence, exposure, sudden narrative reveals, disruptive technological announcements, conflicts involving artificial intelligence, networks, and digital warfare. But most important point is not simply the event itself. The real important is that this conjunction happens at the very beginning of the new Uranus in Gemini cycle, which will remain active until the 33, 2033. The last time Uranus moved through Gemini, the world experienced technological revolution, military communications, cryptography, early computers, and the transformation of the global information system. Also, we have to know that every time that Uranus transits Gemini, United States is in some kind of conflict. Okay? The Second World War, also the Civil War. So I think we are in a place where we can expect something really, really important and big is going to be happening in United States with this new Uranus and Gemini transit, and also the Uranus-Uranus conjunction in the 6th house. And now the transit returns under completely different circumstances: artificial intelligence, social media, cyber warfare, narrative manipulation, and technological competition between global powers. This is why this week revealed the first visible signs of something much larger. Not necessarily because of one single event. Okay, it's not like you are expecting something dramatically is going to happen right now. This is a new system that we are seeing begins and emerge, okay, simultaneously across economics, politics, technological, and control of information. So we are not looking at an isolated economic crisis. We are not looking at isolated protests of technological conflicts. What emerges is a system of pressure where money, collective goods, and informational transformation begins operating all together. Okay? So now we are going to see these events of the weeks, but for personal astrology, okay, in your life with your chart, okay, and what this is talking about, these events are talking about for you. As I said before, this will activate process about self-worth, personal wounds, and mental breakthrough. Okay, the first movements arrives on May 14 with the conjunction between the Sun and Mercury in Taurus, a moment where the mind becomes completely exposed and what you truly think can no longer stay hidden behind fear, doubt, or constant self-negotiation. And there is something important. Taurus is not only the sign of money. Taurus is a sign of value. What you believe you deserve, what you accept, what your position or how you position yourself in relationship to your own material and emotional stability. This is why conversations about money, contracts, prices, relationship, or self-worth, many carry much about this is much more weight than usual, okay, because the sky forces you to see something clearly. If you keep negotiation your value downward, that also becomes your reality, okay. So don't keep devaluating yourself, okay. Questions for you: how much longer are you going to charge what you charge knowing it's not enough? Okay, how much worth what you do, what you have to offer to the world? Okay, or are you going down with your prices because you are afraid? What conversation about money have you been avoiding and you need to have it right now? On May 16, the Tauro new moon arrives and the energy changes completely because we enter in a moment of planting a new cycle overnight. Remember that every new moon is a moment where you put your you are going to be creating something new for your life for the next 6 months. Okay, and this is Taurus season. We have the new moon every year. We have it. Okay, but this is in a global crisis context. So, if you want stability, if you want to create new resources, if you are working about your self value and you are saying to yourself, okay, I need to put myself in another place, higher from where you've been, this is a moment where you need to work on these ideas, okay? A new moon is not something you simply observe from the outside. It's a window to begin something new. And Taurus speaks about slow construction, real stability, and lasting resources. What you decide to plant now might develop over the coming month. Okay? But this new moon arrives together with the exact conjunction between Mars and Chiron in Aries, and this is one of the most intense moments, okay? Because we are carrying some wound about our capacity of being creating something new, your warrior, your inside warrior, your capacity to go for it in life, the things that you want, taking chances, taking risks, and they are the two of them are in the critical degrees, saying goodbye to Aries. They are going to be in Tauro really soon, okay? So that is why it's so important what you are going to see in Tauro in this new moon right now, because afterwards they are coming for you, Mars and Chiron. And if you if this really takes you long and Tauro gets in there, then you are going to be looking at the wound in your resources and your financial life, okay? So have a plan, have an idea, and go for it, okay? Okay, let's see. Chiron in Aries speaks about the wound of identity, the place where you doubt your right to act, to ask, to take space, or to want something bigger for your life. The place where you feel you must first prove yourself, okay, wait for permission, or constantly justify what you want, okay? And when Mars touches that wound, something moves. It might feel like anger, impatience, frustration, the feeling that you cannot keep waiting any longer. But the message of this configuration is really clear. What wound is not appearing to stop you. It is appearing to become fuel for your life and for your actions and for your projects. Okay? So let's see what else we have here. I have a lot of information writing down. Questions for you here. What do you want to build over the next 6 months that you still haven't allowed yourself to say out loud? Where are you still waiting for permission to move? Okay? And while everything is happening here, Pluto retrograde appears showing another much deeper level. And the power you still do not recognize as your own. Okay? I highly recommend you the video that I left in the channel about Pluto retrograde, because it's going to be affecting you in your life until October 2026. Pluto retrogrades does not destroy outwardly, it digs inward. This week may show you very clearly where you continue giving away power without realizing it. And many times that power appears precisely in the conversations that make you uncomfortable, in what feels difficult to ask for, and what you only admit when nobody else is watching you. Okay? And finally, we are going to have Mercury entering in Gemini in immediate conjunction with Uranus. And this is the breakthrough of your mind. Okay, be careful with the crisis, of your nervous system. Okay, so Now we are no longer speaking only about emotions or self-worth. Now we are speaking about mental breakthrough. Uranus has just entered in Gemini, and Mercury becomes the first planet to activate it, and that marks the beginning of a new 7-year mental cycle. So this is not for right now. This is for the 7 years that we have in front of us. This energy is not coming to give you just another idea, it's coming to break the mental map that you have, okay, that you have been using to explain your life to yourself, okay? Because Uranus in Gemini brings new connections, new people, new ideas, and new paths that previously didn't even seem possible for you. And many times they arrive unexpectedly, uncomfortably, or completely outside of your usual script. So open your mind, open your connections, write down your ideas, okay? Everything is possible if you believe so, okay? The problem is not that the mind wants to keep cleaning on the old map, but this week the sky show something really important. Maybe the problem is not that there are no paths. Maybe the problem is that you are still looking at life through an outdated version of yourself. So, who are you right now in this moment? Okay, with everything that happened, astrologically speaking, in the last years, in the world, everything has changed. Have you changed? Or are you fighting with yourself to go back to normality, to something that is dead right now? You have to go for it in this new version of yourself and the world that we are living. Okay. Another key point appears here. The conjunction brings enormous mental speed, many ideas, inspiration, information, but also the risk of dispersion. So be careful and take notes, because the ideas are great. You have a lot of ideas, but if you can sustain any one of them, is kind of something that is not worthy for you, okay? What new ideas scares you, not because it is a bad idea, but because it could change your life too much if you took it seriously? You have ideas that scares you, okay, that you think like, but this is all happening. Who am I in that version of myself? You know? What paths have you dismissed as impossible without truly trying? Important questions for you. Okay, on the 14th, you say what you can no longer keep silent about regarding your value. On the 16th, you plant what you truly want to build, and the wound begins transforming into fuel. And the 17th, the idea, the connection, or the versions arrive that breaks the previous mental limit. The sky is not asking you to have everything figured out before you move. It is asking for the exact opposite, to move first and allow clarity to appear through movement. So I thank you all for watching, and see you in my next video.